Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers McSwine.
We want to welcome everyone to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show. We want to thank you for your patience with us as we are also dealing with how to do a virtual platform with Zoom, and that's what we're doing today. And today we have a very special guest on our show, and she's all the way from Colorado. And I want to welcome Maureen Neufeld to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And I certainly appreciate you taking the time and joining us today. And we'll share a lot today. We did have some interruptions with Florence Myers McSwine, my co-host. She can't be on the show because of some technical difficulties. But we are going to go ahead and proceed on here and see how this goes. So this is our inaugural NFB virtual show. And I want to talk with our guest today because she's a very special lady that I've learned a lot about. And she comes highly recommended from our second vice president of the national, of our national organization with the National Federation of the Blind, President Ron Brown, also our state president. So Maureen, welcome to the show once again.
Thank you.
You are a colleague of mine with the NFB Newsline. We both do work with the NFB Newsline service. And here in Indiana, we have been doing this service with the television show for a little over 3 years now. And people are really gleaning to the service here in Indiana. And I'd like to know, how do you feel about the NFB Newsline service and some of the subscribers that you've encountered?
Well, I think Newsline is absolutely an amazing service. Best of all, it's completely free, right? So it's available to all of us. I love the breaking news feature and being able to get all of the up-to-date information related to COVID-19. I love doing subscriber quotes, getting to call subscribers and hear exactly how Newsline is impacting them. Personally, I really love being able to access the Braille Monitor easily, and my favorite magazine definitely is the WebMD magazine, which I found to be very useful during this time.
Okay, and what is your title with your role with the National Federation of the Blind Newsline?
So I am the outreach manager for Georgia. And so I schedule all of the presentations that Miss Dorothy Griffin, president of the state affiliate there in Georgia, goes out and does in-person presentations about the Newsline service. So she goes all over the state and meets with all kinds of people, goes to specific blindness groups or senior citizen facilities, anybody that could be a Newsline subscriber, and I'm the one that reaches out and does all of her scheduling.
Well, that's a monumental task in itself, and I know we do that here in Indiana as well. And due to this COVID-19, it put a little limit on all of our actions, and we're really looking forward to getting back into action. But we do still do a lot of work with the services, with our subscribers, keeping them up to date and calling them and making sure that everything is going fine with them as well as with the service. So we're going to take a short pause and we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more, matter of fact, a lot more, with our special guest all the way from Colorado. And we'll learn more about this special lady. Stay tuned.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
Wow, I scored a touchdown when I found sports on NFB Newsline.
I enjoy reading TV guide listings on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind. We read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
I love to read. I've always loved to read. Reading takes me places I'm not able to go by air, bus, or car. I plan on reading every newspaper Newsline has.
No more did I have to wonder about the rest of the story when disaster struck. I could open the local paper for that town and find out. And when I discovered that NFB Newsline could be a powerful tool for TV watching, listing all my favorite channels and what was on when, I was most definitely hooked.
I am a blind vendor, and one of the things that I truly miss is reading Vending Times magazine.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
It is a fantastic service.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
We want to welcome you back to the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show with our guest, Maureen Neifeld out of Colorado. Okay, let's talk a little bit about you and let our audience understand just who you are from. Let's start at your childhood.
Okay. So originally I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I grew up in a suburb just outside of Philadelphia. I feel like I had a really great, pretty normal childhood. I played a lot of sports. I liked school, had, friends and a great, great family. I was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder called von Hippel-Lindau syndrome, which did cause my blindness. This disease causes both cancerous and non-cancerous, so benign and malignant tumors in all the organs of my body. And it was discovered when I was 4 years old, when my mom took me to the eye doctor because she thought I just needed a pair of glasses. And at that appointment is when they discovered that I had one eye, my right eye, full of a tumor called hemangioblastomas. And so I did have my right eye removed when I was 4, but had 20/20 vision in my left eye up until I was 17. And that's when I lost all of my vision.
I would like to know, how did that impact your life? I mean, you had kind of been, I guess, kind of prepared for it a little bit as a child, losing your one eye and all the way up to 17. Like you said, you participated in sports and everything like that. And at 17, when you finally lost your complete sight, how did that impact your life?
Well, it impacted it hugely. And I don't feel like I was prepared. I think when you're a kid, you kind of have this feeling of invincibility. And I never thought that I would lose the vision in my left eye because, I would have an eye surgery and my vision would always return back 20/20. When I lost my eyesight completely at 17, I just felt full of shame. I didn't have any confidence. I didn't want to be around my friends anymore. I didn't feel like I could do everything that I thought that I was going to do. I'd always thought that I would go to college, have a family, have a career. And that just seemed to go all out the window for me. I didn't think that that was going to be a possibility.
Okay, so transitioning from as a teenager with a sighted world to a blind world.
I'm Danny Wayne Beamer, Program Manager of the Elder Blind Program at the Will Center in Terre Haute, Indiana. I introduce the NFB Newsline to seniors in 13 southwestern counties in Indiana. I also utilize the NFB Newsline for my radio station public affairs shows. The NFB Newsline. Experience it today.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
Now, thanks to NFB Newsline, I feel that my eyes have been opened to a whole new world of information. I can again keep up with sports right along with my husband and sons. They're impressed that I have this service, and personally, I am too.
I was happy to see that I can again read Guidepost and Reader's Digest. It's funny when you think about how the simple things in life, like reading your favorite magazines, can make a heart smile. I want to thank the NFB Newsline team for what they do. If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
And I trust that you are enjoying our show with Maureen, all the way from Colorado. So, Maureen, we were left off talking about your childhood, and let's continue to talk about the trials that you and your family were experiencing at that time.
Sure. So, it was very difficult losing my sight, but on top of losing my sight, von Hippel-Lindau syndrome also was affecting my life greatly in other ways. So, I had my first brain surgery when I was 10. At 16, I was diagnosed with cancer called renal cell carcinoma. And all of these are characteristics of the disease. So on top of dealing with my blindness, I was also dealing with a lot of very serious health issues. So I did go off to college after I graduated high school as a blind person, but I didn't have the skills or the confidence to be in the classroom. And so I ended up leaving college after 1 year. I did go to massage therapy school and work as a massage therapist for several years, but I was dealing with a lot of issues around confidence and being ashamed of being blind and kind of living in two worlds. Even though I was totally blind, I often wanted to present myself as a sighted person because I hadn't accepted my blindness. I had not had the opportunity yet to get to know the National Federation of the Blind, which I deeply regret. I really wish that I would have found them at that age and had been able to meet other people that were also blind and learn from them. But eventually, at the age of 27, after getting a kidney transplant and still having another few brain surgeries, I went off to Colorado and started receiving training at the Colorado Center for the Blind. And this is where I met the National Federation of the Blind, and my life really began to take its shape.
Okay, well, so the National Federation of the Blind has been very impactful with your life, and giving you the strength to see through them trials, and you're beginning to triumph a little bit with your life and with your journey. So let's tell us a little bit about that, the Colorado School for the Blind with the National Federation of the Blind there.
Yeah, so it's the Colorado Center for the Blind located here in Littleton, Colorado, where I am currently living. I've been here for about 11 years now. And so the center offers training in Braille and technology, mobility, home management, so independent living skills, cooking, cleaning, budgeting. And they also have tons of confidence building activities like rock climbing and kayaking and canoeing and skiing. And I went to Colorado thinking that I would just stay there for a few months and, kind of get a little bit of, I always used to say I'm going to learn how to be a real blind person. So I was going to go to Colorado and learn how to be a blind person. And then I was going to go back to Philadelphia and go to school, but I just fell in love with the state. I fell in love with the people, and I really grew in my confidence. And I learned that I loved working with other Blind people and I loved teaching. So after I had graduated from the program, which is about 9 months long, I was offered a job to teach at the Colorado Center for the Blind. And I worked at the center for almost 10 years teaching home management. I always loved to cook, and my mom was a fantastic cook and taught me how to cook. So I definitely went into the center already having some skills in that area, but I just blossomed in that area a lot. And I loved sharing food and recipes. I love nutrition and wellness and all of those things. So it was a fantastic fit for me. And that is where I really started getting involved with the NFB. I started taking leadership positions with the Denver chapter and the Colorado affiliate, and just learning from all of the people around me that had found the NFB. And it was really inspiring just to be around, all of these people who had the philosophy that, blindness didn't determine whether they were going to be successful or not.
Wow, that's such an amazing journey. You also received a scholarship, a student scholarship with the National Federation of the Blind. You want to tell us a little bit about that and its process?
Yeah, so in 2017, I decided that I was going to return back to college as a non-traditional student. I had always wanted to go to college. I always wanted to finish my degree. And like I'd mentioned, I had stopped going to school because I just didn't have the confidence or the ability to be in the classroom. And here I was, teaching other blind people to follow their dreams and to not let being blind stop them from pursuing what they wanted to. So I decided, with the support of my husband, that I was going to return back to school. And I applied for a national scholarship that year in 2017. I found out that I was a finalist, which was amazingly exciting. I was so excited. And at right around the same time, I found out that I also needed to have another brain surgery. And this was going to be a very major brain surgery because it was in my brain stem. And I figured, I'll go ahead and have the brain surgery in May, which is May 17th, 2017, and I'll be fine by July to go ahead and go off to the national convention and get my scholarship. And the brain surgery did not turn out the way that we all had hoped. And I ended up having to be in a wheelchair for a time. And I also lost the ability to use my right hand. I still don't have the ability to use my right hand. I lost that function altogether because of brainstem damage. And I also ended up with chronically low blood pressure, which causes a lot of fatigue and weakness. And that I still deal with that today. But I still went off to national convention, and I went off to national convention in a wheelchair to get my scholarship, because I thought, what? Just still taking that same philosophy of the National Federation of the Blind and transferring it to all areas of my life, that I don't have to be stopped from my medical challenges. I can work through them, and with the support of my NFB family and my personal family, I was going to be successful. And my mom was so wonderful and came to that convention with my husband and I that year so she could help push my wheelchair. I couldn't even dress myself still at that point. And I was so proud to actually be the top winner that year of the National Federation of the Blind scholarship.
And that's, they select 30 students, am I correct?
Yeah, there are 30 finalists out of that. I think it's about 800 applicants. There are 30 finalists, and there's one top winner, and that was me that year.
Well, congratulations, I tell you, and you're so deserving. And for individuals that are interested in the National Federation of the Blind Scholarship Program, they can go to nfb.org and learn more about that, as well as the Federation itself. Now, you mentioned your husband. Now, yes. When did you meet your husband, and where did you meet him?
So David and I met at the Colorado Center for the Blind. He has worked there all this time as well, and he taught cane travel at the time, and he now teaches woodworking. But yeah, we did meet at the center, and we were married in 2011.
Wow. Now, you've done several other things, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about is your YouTube channel. You want to tell us a little bit about that and its success?
Yeah, YouTube is just a great platform, right? To get out information and to be able to educate. And so I thought, as many of us as blind people, right, we always get the questions like, how do you do this and how do you do that? So I thought, well, I'm going to make a YouTube channel about how blind people do things, just to break down stereotypes and misconceptions. And so I have dozens of videos on YouTube. My YouTube channel is called Breaking Blind, and I do just a variety of different things, all the way from how does a blind person cross the street to how does a blind person make fudge. And it has been such an awesome journey being on YouTube. I have met people from all over the world. People have come to the National Federation of the Blind from my YouTube channel. They have decided to come get training because of my YouTube channel. And it has just been an inspiration in my life to be an instrument in that capacity for others.
Well, I've enjoyed, I became a subscriber after we talked about it. And I have enjoyed watching those videos. And I mean, it takes courage to do what you do to make sure that other people understand, that there is life after blindness, and there is success. And you are just a great, successful reality for all of us to glean to. And I certainly have been gleaning from you and your reality. So you are at the Colorado Center at this point in time. And so what is your summer like? What has it been like dealing with COVID-19 with the family?
So I actually do not work for the Colorado Center for the Blind anymore. Oh. I had my baby in 2018. I had little Logan. And so I have decided to be at home with Logan. My husband and I made that decision, of course, together. And so I work for Newsline, like we talked about. And I, of course, am very involved in the National Federation of the Blind. And then also, this gave me the ability to go to school full-time to finish up my degree. And so that has been an amazing blessing to have the opportunity to be home and work for Newsline from home here in Colorado for Georgia. But COVID-19 has definitely kept us in like everybody else, because I am a kidney transplant patient. I'm immune suppressed, so I'm definitely part of that vulnerable population. But we've been, we're so blessed, and I can't complain about anything. I am so grateful that I'm healthy and my baby and my husband are healthy. We've really enjoyed getting this time to be home together and having breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, and just being able to have all this time and to share that with Logan and watch him change. Because if you're a parent, at this age, every single day, he's doing something new.
Yeah, because, I admire what you're doing with your family and all. And, there's so many issues going on that the National Federation of the Blind legislate for. And one of them is parental rights for people with disabilities or people that are blind. What do you say to that?
Well, I say thank you to the National Federation of the Blind. Here in Colorado, that law was passed maybe 1 week before I delivered Logan. And what a celebration for David and I to know that we brought Logan into this world, and they could not take Logan away from us based on our disability. And I mean, we just cried and cried and cried when that law was passed. And again, like I said, I just say thank you to the National Federation of the Blind, because they work so hard to make life better for us.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a short pause and come back with the conclusion of our program. So stay tuned, audience. We'll be right back.
With my failing eyesight, I'm not able to read regular newspapers, and I'm not able to keep up with obituaries.
I've been a homemaker all of my life, but since my vision has failed, I wish I could read my favorite magazines.
Have you heard of the NFB Newsline?
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
I just graduated college as a blind student. How can I independently find job listings?
Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
It is a fantastic service.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
We want to welcome you to the conclusion of our show today and with our fabulous guest and share great information. So, Maureen, what do you want to leave people with in this with this show?
I just want to leave people with the one piece of advice, and that would be to reach out to the National Federation of the Blind. If you are struggling with vision loss, it's so important to find people that can be mentors and that you can learn from, and a group that you can feel accepted and included and a part of. I know for me that just changed my life completely. The NFB will support you in whatever journey you are on. If you are a student, go to nfb.org and find out about your state and national scholarship opportunities. It is a great way to get involved with the National Federation of the Blind. You get great mentor opportunities. And that is what I would say to everyone.
Well, we want to thank you again for being our guest and look forward to sharing with you later and talking with you in the near future as a colleague and as a person. So thank you once again, for coming on to our show. And I want to thank our viewers for always joining in on our show. So in conclusion, I just would like to say, as a people, we care, we share, and we grow. And together, like our guest, Maureen, we can make a difference. Take good care of yourselves and talk to you soon.
The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
As I travel the nation, I read NFB Newsline.
I live in Valparaiso, Indiana, and I listen to my local news on NFB Newsline.
As a student, I enjoy reading current events on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.